projection.
Hey y'all, and welcome to Taking on Sports, your favorite sports podcast. As always, I am TD, and that is Greg. Greg, how you doing?
I am good. How are you today, sir?
I'm pretty good on a early Sunday afternoon, recording a little earlier than usual. We're kicking it off right as the NFL slate of games are kicking off. Kind of a little decision Sunday for a few teams anyway. Yesterday, the Chiefs locked up home field advantage, and the Jaguars clinched the AFC South. Kind of no one saw coming, but great turnaround for them after the debacle that was the season under Urban Meyer last year. I guess we'll start, of course, giving our thoughts, all that out to Damar Hamlin. Of course, that scary event happened Monday night, cardiac arrest event. He seems to be making a lot of progress, though, doing well. So we're happy there. And I just want to say a quick little, basically a screw you to everyone who tried to use that situation to advance whatever propaganda they wanted, be it anti-vax crap, or I even saw a couple people talking about this is why we should ban football type crap. Like, that's just, I mean, come on. That's some like fake intellectual crap right there.
Yeah. Clearly has nothing to do with the vax. Clearly has nothing at all to do with banning football. I mean,
no.
That's
Freak accident.
Right. I mean, it was a normal tackle, nothing out of the there, and just went crazy after that. Glad that, as you said, he's making a lot of progress, and that's the most important thing there. And we just continue to hope that he continues to get better and at least gets his everything needed to live a normal life, whether that be that he doesn't play in the NFL again or not, that, that at least he's able to do, everyday functions with no issue there.
Yeah, exactly. This is not indicative of any. I mean, look, football's got problems. We're not trying to say it doesn't.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of issues with injuries, the NFL, football in general, but this is not that time or that place. This is about a man that had a freak accident occur there. I'm not sure exactly what may have caused it, and I'm not sure if we'll ever know specifically, but it's about him getting better and figuring things out, and hopefully living a long, healthy rest of his life. And that's the in and out of it. Nothing else. Our opinions other than that really matter to me. It's not about us.
Yeah, exactly.
And I get tired. I guess the main thing is, even with all that Skip Bayless stuff, and everybody was pissed at him for his tweets and things, and then it ended up being about him and about other things. And I hate when folks make situations that other than that have nothing to do with them, and it becomes about them more than the actual event itself. And that's, I don't know, super annoying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the one that kind of pissed me off the most is right now it looks like the Bills are starting their game off, taking the opening kick to the house. Oh, that's Hamlin would be smiling if he's watching the game right there. Sure. That's huge. Bad for New England's playoff hopes, but good for Buffalo.
Yeah, for sure.
I was going to say the one that pissed me off the most was I saw something that equated football, and they talked about banning football, and they equated it to gun control. And I was like, all right, now that's two different situations.
Whole different situations.
Whole different, yeah. One, involves a tool that's literally made to kill. And the other is a sport that, yes, like we said, has problems and has, it's a violent tendency, but a freak accident that could happen in baseball or tennis. It happened in hockey years ago. I remember Chris Pronger I think he was playing with the Blues at the time.
Yeah.
Took a slap shot to the chest, went down, got up, and then collapsed. And it's scary, but it's freak. It's just a freak occurrence.
And long term, I mean, maybe that's something that was going to be an issue, and it got discovered now instead of later. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But again, yeah, I think you said the best point right there. Too many people made it about them and some agendas rather than just focusing on what
Yeah,
the event at
because
hand. But
yeah,
again,
I mean,
yeah, go
and then
ahead.
the other thing that I saw in some podcasts, and it was interesting to see. I thought you got to think, you got to think about him long term as well, because more than likely I don't know if he'll ever return to the NFL or not. I mean, I don't know if that's how if that how much that hurts his chances of returning, or if he ever gets to play again. But you look at, I mean, this is a guy was a 6th round draft pick. Has only been in the league for a
Hmm.
couple of years, so it's not like he has millions and millions saved up, and he's not doesn't even qualify for the NFL money after 5 years. You get guaranteed money every year. I mean, this is man, yes, to us 800,000 is a good amount of money. But you look at it long term. I mean, there's people that make that in a couple of minutes in the NFL, and if he never gets to play again, he's changes his whole life, and eventually everybody's gonna move on from it and forget. It's gonna stop talking about the situation, and then he's gonna go on with his life and have a lot to figure out. Um, with his whole what's he gonna do with his career, money wise, and everything like that. And that's another thing. I don't
Hmm.
think people even consider or think about, because so it's a lot to it.
Yeah. I know another great thing that came out of that was he had a toy drive that he
Oh yeah, that
does,
was fantastic.
um, and they got almost 4 million, or I don't know
Yeah,
what number it's crept up to now in donations
those
after the
are
event. So
that's one thing.
that's awesome.
That Buffalo fan base, they do a lot of charitable things. Like they're
Hmm.
hell of a fan base. Of course, with support of their team, but when it comes to donations and charity, they seem to be top notch when it comes to things like that.
No, yeah, absolutely. I remember after painful as a Ravens fan, but when the Bengals beat the Ravens on the last play of the season back in I think the 2017 or
Yeah,
so, it helped the Bills get into the playoffs for the first time in like 15, 20 years. And Bills fans flooded, I think, Andy Dalton's charity
yeah,
with over millions in donations
right.
too. So, yeah, Bills Mafia shows up. But I guess that's good for
Yeah,
that. Again, all our best wishes to Damar Hamlin.
for sure.
And by all accounts, he's making a lot of great progress. So that's the only important news.
Exactly.
As for on the field stuff, we mentioned there's a few games of consequence today for some seeding and a couple playoff spots, the last spot in each conference. The Patriots need to win to get in, and they did not start well.
Not enough.
Um, they can actually still get in if they lose, but they would need the
Dolphins
Dolphins to
lose
lose
to.
to the Jets and the Steelers to lose to the
Mm.
Browns. And then Jacksonville won last
Ooh,
night, so
okay.
that helps them there. Um, which we can use there. Move on there. Mac Jones just took a big
Mac Jones
sack.
just got
Uh,
lit up. Thank goodness.
yeah, this this might not be a good day for New England. I think Buffalo was fighting for a second seed now.
Yeah.
Um, Jacksonville, yeah, won the AFC South for the first time in 4 or 5, maybe even longer
Yeah, and
seasons,
first time
6
since
maybe.
2017 to make the playoffs. And the crazy thing is, back when they went into that was it 2017 when they went to they were minutes away from being in the Super Bowl,
Hmm.
because they took
Yeah, when
New
the
England to the brink, and New England had to come back on them, and then everything just blew up for the Jags.
yeah
If you think about it, they were
with
just
mighty
seconds away from the Super Bowl.
seconds away with Blake
Yeah,
Bortles at
quarterback.
at quarterback. That's a name you haven't heard in a while. So yeah, that's the situation there. Pittsburgh would get in; they need to win, and then also have the Patriots and Dolphins lose.
Hmm.
And the Dolphin situation is, I'm not sure where.
I know
I'm
that
trying to look that up right
I
now.
think they have to win, and then the Patriots. I think they just have to win. The Patriots lose, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yeah. Let's see here. No, it's somewhere up here. I think you're right about that. Yeah, Jets at the Dolphins. They need to win. Yeah, you're right. They just need a win and a Patriots loss for the Dolphins to get
oh,
in.
I'll pop.
Uh, yeah, all very possible. Yeah, and seating wise, the Bills. Let's see.
I think they win. They're at the 2.
Yeah, they needed a Chiefs loss yesterday for home field, so they didn't get that. If they win, yeah, they're the 2. And then you got the weird thing with the Bengals. The NFL called off the game, so they won't make up that game. They declared them AFC North champs, but they could still technically not host a playoff game.
Yeah,
If the Ravens end up the 6th seed, which by all accounts they might, because they play the Bengals today in Cincy, and they are running out basically a practice squad on offense. No Lamar, no J.K. Dobbins, no Mark Andrews. It's rough. I'm not sure if Ronnie Stanley he might play. I'm not sure, but if somehow the Ravens win that, then they would have and they finish as a 6th seed.
they have a coin.
Oh wait, oh no, if the Ravens win that, I think they would have a shot at the 5 seed, and they would go play at uh, Jacksonville.
Yeah, but then if they were to play the Bengals, then it'd be a coin flip to see who's the home team. The
Yeah, and if
record
they
if they
end up
both.
with the Bengals at 3, yeah, and the Bengals would get home team. Which would be screwy. It would be unfortunate. I guess it all depends. I think the Ravens could still win and not get the 5th seed if
Hmm,
the Ravens need the Chargers to lose as well. So say the Chargers win and the Ravens win. The Bengals have been mad about it
oh,
all week about the coin flip thing, and to a degree I get it, but to the other degree, if the Ravens win today, that would mean the Bengals lost to a practice squad, which shame on them.
yeah,
2, the Ravens would have the season sweep, a better division record, and the same amount of overall wins. So I, I don't think the Bengals have a lot to cry about there. But again, I don't. The Bengals should win this one by 4
yeah,
scores.
they'll definitely win. And even if they were to play in the playoffs again, even when we're in Baltimore, Lamar is not playing. I mean, I would still think Cincinnati, if they don't win that game, they got to look nothing but themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now as far as what Baltimore team shows up in the playoffs, if Lamar does come back and they get J.K. and Mark Andrews back, that's a little different. But
Exactly.
we'll see. Joe Burrow has kind of really owned the Ravens with his in his little short career here, as he is doing a Lamar Jackson impression himself right now,
Right.
escaping pressure and getting
Yeah, that's
about a 7-yard scramble there. Ran about 50 yards to get
right.
6. But yeah, so that is all your situations for the AFC
Dang.
playoffs. Again, there's some seeding that all the seeds are pretty much set. The Chargers win, then they have the 5th seed. They'll go to Jacksonville, which would put the Ravens at 6, and they would go to Cincinnati, I think, barring a Buffalo loss somehow.
Yeah,
And then there's, I think there'd be it was a weird coin flip situation if the Bills and Bengals meet in the AFC title game, or no, it would go to a neutral site, I believe. But these things, when people they tend to work themselves out in the field and not even matter in the long run. So
everybody has to have a storyline to talk about. So
yeah, exactly. Over in the NFC,
it's like
we got that.
Seattle just had to win today and they're the last team in.
Yeah,
But if they were to lose today, then that opens up that night game, Lions and Packers, and really matters because then winner.
the winner of that one would get in, right? Yeah. And then as far as seeding goes, the Eagles just need a win
Yeah.
to clinch home field advantage. If they lose, that would open the door for San Francisco, I believe.
Oh yeah, yeah. So technically, yeah, the Eagles win. They're the ones who lose somehow today. Then San Francisco, as long as they win, they're in a terrible Arizona team. So That would be a shocker of all shockers. But yeah, then they would move up to the one, and if but I would love to see Philly lose and then us win at least the East, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. The Cowboys have that shot to get the division still somehow.
But you'd have to think is that I'm seeing Jalen's playing, so I don't know how healthy he is or how much of an effect that's gonna have on the game there. But it's crazy that it's considering how you know how ahead the Eagles were.
Yeah, exactly. And also, Pat Mahomes, by all accounts, looks like he's gonna win the MVP. I think he broke the all-purpose yardage record
Yeah,
yesterday, but you just see how stalled that Eagles offense stalled without Jalen and Lane Johnson on the offensive line. That's a good case for Jalen's
yeah,
MVP. Won't win it,
I,
but
yeah. I mean that definitely. I mean, you gotta look at everything else is pretty much the same. Then you take that much of a hit, and they're about to lose. What they've lost, what two or three in a row, and
yeah, it's
we,
2, 3, yeah. Oh, uh, pretty rough couple games for Philly there with Gardner Minshew. I think we talked about it last time out. It's a weird backup to have on that team.
yeah, for sure.
Um, I think I had it. I'm gonna give a little hot take right here myself. Going back to my Ravens, I think it's time for the John Harbaugh era to end. Um,
Yeah,
he's been a great coach, won a Super Bowl. Obviously, he's a model of consistency. Uh, it's just that it's stalled out, and it happens in with a lot of dynasties and a lot of great teams over a while that just you hit a wall basically, and just you need a fresh change. And I think that's what the Ravens need. If
yeah,
especially if he does kind of overhaul the offense and the coaching staff and he agrees to modernize it, then that's okay, I think. But if he doesn't, if he wants to keep Greg Roman, if he wants to keep trying to build a power running team in 2023, then he needs to, I think Steve Bisciotti, the owner, really needs to let him go and just say thank you for everything you've done here, but we just need a fresh
right,
restart basically on the franchise because he dumbs down Greg Roman dumbs down this offense and makes it very elementary. The passing schemes are horrible. We've talked about this. You see former players on air as analysts talking about how horrible the passing scheme is, how archaic it is.
right,
And everyone, the knock on Lamar is like, oh, well, no, you don't have to dumb it down for him. The man ran a Bobby Petrino offense in college, which is insanely complicated, and won a Heisman Trophy with it off his arm strength. He threw for 4,000 or 5,000 yards. Like Lamar was slinging the ball
yeah,
when he was at Louisville. He can throw the ball and he can run a complicated offense. He can make reads.
exactly.
It's not hard. He's got the arm to do it. His legs are just an additional weapon. They shouldn't be the focus of his strength. And I think you've seen that the past couple of seasons with him getting hurt now for the stretch run. It cost the Ravens a playoff spot last year, and it cost them a division this year.
Exactly.
And they'll probably lose. I don't really see them winning a wild card game against anybody.
Right. Yeah.
But I just think, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, sometimes things just run its course. Um, it's the main thing is to make sure that you're pulling the trigger before it gets too late. And, people on the outside are going to look in and say, well, that doesn't make sense. Look at his overall record. Look what he's done. Sometimes you just have to make that move because, yeah, like you said, things have gotten kind of stale. I mean, I look at it similar. I mean, it's different because it's a college game, but you got to look at it TCU, for an example. Gary Patterson been there 20-plus years. And when he got fired, everybody was like, oh, my God, why would TCU fire Gary Patterson? He's an all-time winningest coach. Look at all he's done for the program. But the last couple of years, things gotten really stale. They had started not winning as much. The offense has gotten really bad. Um, Players weren't playing with the same energy that they had for most of the time. So at that time, TCU knew it was time to make a change. To the outside folks, it looked crazy, but if you're an inside person, know what's going on with the program and know what's capable, then you make that move, and maybe like you said, sure. If things just haven't last couple of years, things just haven't ended as they should have, and it's the same. Seems to be the same story, back 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 to back to back for the Ravens. I know as a fan, I know you're, tired of the same result, and if you keep doing the same thing and getting the same result, that's the definition of insanity, expecting something different. So yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of Harbaugh's reputation rides off his first 5, 6
yeah,
years when they made the playoffs every year. They won the Super
right,
Bowl. But since the Super Bowl, they've had 2 playoff
right,
wins. That's it. They've missed a playoff a few seasons. They had the great 2019 year, broke a bunch of records. Lamar was only the second unanimous MVP in league history.
yeah,
What would they do? They lost their first playoff game to a Tennessee team they should have ran out the building.
right, exactly.
I mean, it was kind of a bad matchup for them, but still, like, they should have won that game. They should have been hosting the
Almost definitely.
AFC title game. They, last year again had a little to do with injuries. They've had some bad injury luck, but that's also part of the coaching staff. They haven't really changed things up. We saw that with Alabama in the middle part of last decade, where we were having all these off-season injuries to our players, and we
Yeah,
looked at our weight program, our conditioning, and all that. We changed it,
yeah,
and it's made a world of difference.
exactly.
And I think that's just the problem with John Harbaugh is he wants to run this old school
Yeah,
team in a modern era, and it's fine to be run first, but you gotta modernize the offense, and he
exactly.
refuses to do it. And if he doesn't do it this all season, I think if I were the owner, like I said, I'd be like, look, we want you here, but you have to you have to make wholesale
Yeah, man,
changes,
has
and
to
if
make
you're
some
not going to do
changes.
that, then
You gotta go.
yeah, if
Yeah,
you're not going to do that, then yeah, then it's time to move on and go coach somewhere else.
exactly. Yeah, especially when
But
you
yeah,
have a once in a lifetime talent with Lamar, you got to open up all possible windows as far as what you can do with that offense. I mean,
exactly, especially when you're negotiating a contract with them. They can franchise tag them the next 2 years,
exactly.
but that might cripple what else you can do. But they've never gotten him a true number one receiver. They don't have real weapons for him
Exactly.
in the passing game outside of Mark Andrews. They don't really utilize what they do have well, and you can't. They took the league by surprise in 2019, and everyone made adjustment, and that's the Greg Roman kind of MO too. He did that when he's in San Francisco
Right.
with Colin
Yeah.
Kaepernick. Had that one great year, and then the league figured it out. And
Exactly.
then that, he
Everyone.
can let him go do that in college. That'll work there. But
Exactly.
I know I've put that. I think I put that question out a couple of seasons ago, and people got blasting me for it, like, "Oh, you're just a spoiled fan." I'm like, "Am I? Like, what have we been spoiled about?" I give like your team wins a championship. I believe in like a 5-year grace period.
Right.
You can go, okay, here you go. 5 years, we won a title. That's awesome. Because I'm not expecting, an Alabama like run for the Ravens. It's
Yeah.
hard to win championships. Like what Nick Saban has done is unreal, unprecedented. It will never be matched.
Right.
But yeah, that's probably a good segue to go to the college game and a title game with a team whose fan base seems to think that they are on the verge of creating a Saban-like dynasty. The Georgia Bulldogs will face off against TCU. So yeah, let's just talk about that title game. Greg, I guess first question, do you think it's absolutely Georgia's going to win it? Like an absolute. Do you think they're going to run them out the building?
Run them out the building. No. Win the game. I think that Ohio State and probably with a lot of favorites. Georgia was up completely. If anybody was thinking it was going to be a walk through the park to win the national title, but I think that probably woke up everybody. And I expect Georgia probably to win. I'd say probably end up winning between like 10 and 14, pulling away kind of late. Um, I think TCU is going to give them a game. I think TCU knows exactly how to beat Georgia. They saw that. They have a premier receiver in Johnson. It's a matter of can they get him in the get the ball to him there. Main thing though, Max Duggan can't make. He had some bad interceptions against Michigan. He can't have that at all against Georgia. Um,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll use that segue. I was going to ask, what do you think? I guess I can start too. I think if we're saying TCU on offense, what they have to do to win this game, I think you touched on it there. They have to play perfect almost, no turnovers. You can't turn the ball over. Max Hacksaw Duggan there. He's got to play another out of this world game. It's asking a lot of him, but That's what he does. He puts the team on his back. And I think they got to, they're not going to be able to line up and run the ball on Georgia. That's just not going to happen with the strength of that Georgia defense. But I think the strength of the TCU offense this year has been their adjustments, and they come out with, different game plans for different teams. And I think they need to attack the outside, attack that Georgia secondary who can be suspect.
Right.
We saw them give up a lot of big plays against Ohio State. I think, you got Quentin Johnston there. That's a first round talent
Exactly.
at receiver there. You need to get him the ball, take advantage of it. Test guys like Keely Ringo. Let's see how good they really are.
Ringo,
And
he's had some
mhm.
questionable games at times, and even some Georgia fans are like, "Come on, bro, for Ringo." But
Yeah,
yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, they're also gonna have to give Max Duggan some time because if he doesn't
hmm
have time, he's gonna have a long day.
yeah. It's kind of a catch-22 almost. They need, in terms of what's best for them, they probably need a lot of quick throws, a lot of screens, a lot of quick hitters, and let their playmakers work in space. But they're also going to need big chunk plays, which require time. So, and they're going to have to try to run the ball to keep the Georgia D offense honest.
Oh yeah. And I
Um,
mean, TC does have the good running backs. Even the backup, when he came in, I mean he's had some good runs. I don't know if the starter. I know he's still questionable for the game, so it'll be not sure if he's going to be playing or not. But they TCU can run the ball. It's just a matter of that's Georgia's strength as far as shutting down the run. So yeah, they have to keep the defense honest. But yeah, it's going to be a matter of keeping Duggan off the dirt, off the turf, and then also just finding big opportunities in the secondary.
mhm. All right, we'll move to the other side of the ball now. When Georgia has the ball, they kind of have a reputation as that line them up and run you over team, but they really kind of been doing it more through the air this year. Um, as far as what TCU needs to do to win there, I think probably similar to what they did against Michigan. They need turnovers. They need big plays, a pick six, or just big turnovers in big situations. You agree?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, TCU has been a bend but not break defense, and they're going to have to continue with that. They're going to have to uh, get out there, get some turnovers. The main thing as well is when Georgia does score, it's going to have to be field goals and not touchdowns.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to need a few red zone
Yeah,
stops.
they're going to need some big plays, force a fumble, maybe get an interception, something that gives them an extra possession without Georgia scoring. It's going to be key to it there.
Yeah, if they could get some real big turnovers, like I said, they had what two pick sixes and they had that goal line fumble against Michigan. They
Yeah,
need something like
that
that.
was yeah,
Obviously, if you repeat that, that's great. But they just need something. Maybe not even necessarily a pick six, just a pick in a big situation.
yeah,
Georgia drove it
definitely,
down and then stop them.
exactly. Just something
Uh,
that changes momentum, gives them some advantage, something that allows them to either a stay tied in the game or allows them to get a lead there. But I think the other big thing for TCU, they're not expected to win the game. It's the second week in a row where everybody's kind of already written them off as having a chance, and they're going to come in. They're going to be no pressure. I think they're going to come in light, ready to go, and they're playing with house money. So
yeah, exactly. I tend to agree with you. I think Georgia probably in the end win by two scores. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. I wouldn't be surprised if TCU led at some point in the second half and Georgia did their thing, their little
yeah,
cardiac kid thing. They,
exactly, kind of like last week. But yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I just don't think it's going to be as bad as what people think. Just like last, in the semifinals, I didn't think either game was going to be what people thought it were. And it turned out it was two epic games that a lot of people didn't expect coming into the playoff there. But
yeah. Uh, and as far as those Georgia fans, everybody talking about, they're the new Alabama and
yeah,
the new dynasty. Look, yeah, like you mentioned earlier in the year, they're the new bully on the block and all that. But You got to win a few more before you
They,
start comparing yourself
like,
to the Saban.
they,
Literally the greatest run in college football history. Six
they
national
said
titles in what, like a 13 season span?
that
Like,
and instead of arguably could have been way better.
yeah, and then that includes what, two
I mean,
title
you gotta
game
look at it.
losses.
Exactly. I mean, you gotta look at it. I mean, we were a kick six away pretty much from a national title game. At least would have played Florida State in 13 if we had not messed around in that Auburn game after getting that lead. I mean, we lost in 2014 in the semifinals to Ohio State, a game we probably should have won. Lost a double-digit lead there. 15 we won. 16, I mean, came down to that. Last drive there. You know, normally Alabama's defense was so good that year we don't allow that touchdown. Crazy ending there
Yeah,
with
right.
Clemson after Jay wanted to let us down the field. I mean, then of course 2017 win the title there. 2018, I mean, made the national title and then got absolutely destroyed in the championship game after that they scored, we scored, and then after that they dominated. The picks
Hmm.
really changed the game with Clemson. Yeah, but I mean every year, I mean we're right there. So I mean it's not like because the Alabama fall off as we've seen has been what this year, and we still won the Sugar Bowl. I mean lost two games by a total of 4 points. So I mean if everybody's fall off was our fall off, they would love it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you mentioned, could have been a lot more. Yeah, like the kick six away from a chance to win a three-peat.
Yeah,
2014 had double digit lead on Ohio State and could have put that game away. If I remember right, that was one of the few times that Lane Kiffin kind of shot himself in the foot, got a little too cute
that
with some
on.
play calls instead of
Yeah,
just putting the ball in a young Derrick Henry's hands and letting him run through that defense.
exactly.
Um, the 2016 took out of this world perfect game from Deshaun Watson. And like you said, that defense had made so many plays all year, couldn't make one more to win.
Right.
2018, yeah, that was an ass whooping. That's can't change that. 2019 ran into that buzzsaw LSU
Exactly.
offense, but even
But
then,
even then,
what happens if there's a healthy? What if Tua doesn't get hurt that year? What if there's a healthy Tua? How
yeah.
does that change that game?
And then also, the Iron Bowl. I mean, Mac
Yeah,
Jones got put into a bad situation. I mean, his first time really playing an important game, and it's just happens by Iron Bowl. And oh, and if you win, you're probably in the playoffs. I mean, yeah, I mean, and then what we had two pick sixes that game, which
yeah,
not
including one off the receiver's ass that the
yeah,
linebacker caught. Just
yeah.
a weird one of
Something
those
that's
weird iron balls and Jordan hair things.
yeah, and something that's not going to happen. And as we've seen, I mean, Mac Jones learned a lot from that and had a hell of a 2020 season. But
Yeah, then came back. Yeah, one of the best, maybe even a better offense in that 2019 LSU, 2021 SEC champs, and
yeah,
lost the Georgia title game, which Georgia pulled away from, won by a couple of scores in the end. But that was also
so
without like five starters, including your two best receivers. If Alabama's healthy, maybe that game changes. So, like you said, that's a
but too, I mean, that's the game we had just played with a couple weeks before. So I mean, it's hard to beat
mhm.
fights, especially when you just beat them, dominated their home state. I mean, of course, they're going to come in with a different fire. It's national.
Yeah,
It's hard to beat a team twice in a season, much less a month.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, call us in a decade and if you and change Georgia fans, and if you've done that, then you can talk
Right. I mean,
talk
if
that
you would,
talk. But
yeah,
and we're not taking away from anything Georgia's done
oh
yet.
no, it's been
But
quite the run. I mean, two perfect regular seasons, the
mhm,
chance of winning a national title, uh, undefeated this year. First time possible for back to back since us in 2011 and 12. I mean, it's been quite the run there. But yeah, and I'm not sure if it's necessarily even all the Georgia fans. I think it's just the national, the pundits, looking for those talking points. They love to move on to
mhm,
a big thing and you know love to talk about all the Alabama's dead. Let's move on to the next thing. But we've seen that so many times. I mean, for a while it was going to be Ole Miss. It was going to be that thing, and then it was going to be Auburn. It was gonna be that thing after that. And it's always who's going to replace Bama. This is probably the most. I would say the most consistent argument they've had. 'Cause, I mean, Georgia. I mean, what Kirby's done has been quite impressive there. I mean, um, in his tenure there, but it's his third third national title game there already. So I mean, more so than what we the Georgia fans have seen in their whole lives, for sure. And I mean, it's been quite the run, but yeah, you're definitely gonna have to add some more before you say, "Oh, this is definitely the next dynasty." And I saw something the other day, which I reposted on Facebook from Funny Man. He has said that you know Clemson, Georgia is not the new Alabama; they're the old Clemson, which is kind of exactly where they're at right now.
So yeah, we'll see if they can keep it going. You got to wonder at some point too when is that and it's happened a little bit, but you got to go through that spell if you're Georgia too and Kirby Smart when you start losing assistants every year. You start getting them plucked from
Yeah.
your staff, and that kind of turnover. And then you got now Georgia's running in some, you got a resurgent Tennessee program that Josh Heupel looks to have as a emerging power, and
South
we'll see
Carolina
what Florida does over there.
better.
And then of course always dangerous South Carolina.
Yeah, Beamer,
You
Beamer,
know,
you know.
Beamer ball, baby. Yeah, Beamer ball 2.0. But and of course, speaking of title gains in Georgia and Alabama, today is the I believe 5-year anniversary of Second and 26. So
Oh man,
happy anniversary there, bud.
such a
Yeah, such a great day. I remember I think I talked about it on Twitter earlier today too. Shared a clip of it and just someone compared it to just like the best feeling they had ever watching, football. It's just total elation. And I do remember we were watching it at our house, and it was me, my now
uh-huh.
wife, and our roommate at the time. And just remember after that sack on first down, sat down, was like, all right, well, I know how this is going to end. We're going to lose via missed field goal.
Yeah,
And
he
then
always
he hits that pass and just jumping up, going crazy
all
with our roommate. And Heather, my now wife, she's just sitting on the couch stunned. Like, did we win? What, we won? Like, had no words, couldn't it? It was just
yeah, just epic,
amazing. Yeah.
a once in a lifetime
Yeah.
feeling there. Yeah, because after that sack, I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
we're not even gonna get
Exactly.
in the
Yeah.
field goal.
And if somehow you've never done this as an Alabama fan, find two clips. One, the clip that just has the calls from like all the different countries, all these different calls. It's like a mashup clip on YouTube. I think you could probably find it a cut. That's just really cool to listen to all the different calls.
Mm-hmm.
And it might have it in there, but if it doesn't, look up separately the Georgia radio call that because they were so confident they were going to win. They were making fun of, they tried to pronounce to his name. We're like, whatever, how it's pronounced, and then Tua
Mm-hmm.
hits that next pass and it goes from them laughing and jovial to like, and Alabama wins. A great,
So epic.
a great moment of hubris right there if
Yeah,
you enjoy that kind of thing. But that is that. We'll move on from that. Just finish up here. We don't have a lot to talk about this week. NBA keeps rolling along. More 50-point games. Last time we were here, we talked about Luka and Zion just playing out of this world. Luka's
and then
60-point
Zion,
triple double. Well, then
Zion got
Donovan Mitchell came out and dropped 71.
71. My goodness.
It is amazing. The scoring this year is up a lot. It's awesome. Love a high scoring NBA.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bit thanks, I guess, to that take foul rule, but I think mostly just people balling out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, you can't take away. It doesn't matter what folks say. Oh, it's a soft year and so 71 is 71. Like that's crazy.
Exactly.
No matter
Yeah.
what. Like if it was so easy, more it would happen more often. I mean, that's just out of the world.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's people act like, oh, it's all, well, no, then it would happen every year. We'd have
Exactly.
a ton of 70-point games and another bad interception for the woo. This Ravens Bengals game is going to get ugly. Uh, I'm not even sure what happened there. It looked like it went through the receiver's hands to the corner. I just saw it out the corner of my eye here. But the Bengals are fired up. Like I said, they were mad all week
Oh,
about the coin flip
they've been mad
situation.
all
So
week. So they have a lot to be mad about.
yeah, and New England has tied it up with Buffalo, although Buffalo is driving in right now. So Cincinnati does, I think, still, yeah, they still have a shot at the 2 seed there. But yeah, a
That's
lot
a
of
team
good.
turning the second half of the year. They start off kind of slow there. Jamar got hurt, and Jamar came back. I mean, they've been a whole different team. It seems like. Bengals.
Yeah, exactly. Jamar Chase getting back in that offense just gave them that extra dimension, and the I'd say the line's probably improved a lot too, giving Joe Burrow a little bit more time. They're still not. I wouldn't call them a good line by NFL standards.
No, but they're I mean, they're not as bad as what they have been. I mean, he's able to live.
Yeah, exactly. He's able to stay on his feet and not take as many just horrible shots. But yeah, the NBA again. It's just been a fun watch. Uh, I mean, really the last few seasons, but especially just this season in particular. Just the last month or so, just superstars are being superstars, and
Yeah,
that's always great.
yeah,
Um, and it's going to be really fun to watch now once football winds down. Playoff race and all that should be real heated in the NBA, and they're just fun to watch. College hoops, a big week for Alabama hoops.
big week.
I think we talked about last week. I think we talked about starting their season with a win at State on the road, starting their
Yeah,
SEC season. They got a win at home versus Ole Miss earlier this week, and
yeah,
then
blowout win,
yesterday, not just
man.
beating Kentucky, but blowing out Kentucky. Not even close. Just
Oh,
really picked them apart.
yeah.
Um, which, if you're a longtime Alabama basketball fan, that feels good.
Oh
Kentucky
yeah,
has been the
thorn in our
scourge
side.
of many a season. Many a high hope seasons you go in and think you can beat Kentucky, and then you don't lose to them. Not you don't just lose to them; you just
You
get
get annihilated.
get your head kicked in. I think when we were in school we may have beat them once, and it wasn't even in
Yeah,
Tuscaloosa. It was up in Lexington, that Jamario Davidson game when he thought he was wilt for a game and scored like
yeah.
36 or something.
I remember that. And we had the one game. It was we had the one big game against them at home and lost in the end there. Yeah, but yeah, Jamario Davis in Lexington, that was a wild one. And then Kentucky always seems to be the team that we will run into in the second day of the SEC tournament. It's like, how do
Yeah,
we always end up playing Kentucky? It's always Kentucky.
always. Yeah, we always every year when those brackets are released, it's like, God damn, man! Like that's why it's so important to get one of those top four seeds and get
Oh
that
yeah,
first round bye.
double bye. Yeah,
So at
we'd
least you get
always
to the semis before you play Kentucky.
exactly. It's like, damn it, quarterfinal Friday, we're always playing Kentucky, or we were always playing Florida when Florida was on top.
Hmm.
It's like,
Yeah,
my goodness. But yeah,
but
I mean, I love what this season is becoming there. You know, big win yesterday. I know it's not Kentucky may not be what Kentucky has been, but I mean it's still Kentucky. I mean the fact that not only did we win, you got to look at it too. I mean Miller out rebounded with Sambe, out rebounded that man, and that hadn't happened. And I don't think the whole time he's been at Kentucky where he's had a game where he's been out rebounded by somebody, which is
oh no, and I saw
wow.
a great piece of info from somebody too. I wish I could remember who, but they were talking about the strength of the Alabama coaching staff is finding the opposing team's weakness and exploiting it, and they
Hmm.
figured out that his weakness was defending ball screens,
Hmm.
and they just from the start they're just abusing him.
Oh yeah,
I mean, Calipari benched him at one point,
exactly.
but yeah, 26-point win over Kentucky. And another great stat: Alabama only scored 6 points over the final 5 minutes of the game and still won by 26. That's how not
That's
close
on
of a
top
game
of it.
this was. Um,
Exactly.
their next one is Wednesday, tough one at
At
Arkansas.
and Fayetteville. Yeah, that'll
Fayetteville
be a
is
big
always
one.
a tough place to play, and then they'll host a kind of a tough LSU team next Saturday and
Yeah.
back in Coleman. So yeah, gonna be a fun conference season. This Alabama team looks like this is a real one, man.
Real team. Yeah, this is not a fluke team. This is a team if they stay healthy and keep playing like they are. Man, the sky's the limit. Things are really
Yeah,
wide open this year in the college basketball. There's not a team to say, oh, that's definitely your national title type of feeling this year. I mean, there's a couple teams you feel could win a title, but yeah, I mean, I think we're one that's definitely in the mix if we play our game there. So.
yeah, right. Might have to figure out how to convince the wife to let me go to Houston for a weekend in late March, early April. Uh,
Hey, I mean, that's a once in a lifetime thing. So that might be the convincing point right there. We
I
may
about to
not see
say, yeah.
this again.
Yeah, it's like she can go to her parents' house, take the baby and
Yeah,
have some help there, and then I can meet the boys in Houston. Because
yeah.
yeah, like you said, something as a long time Bama basketball fans been waiting for this for a while. There's always kind of a fun question
Now,
online. Would you trade one Alabama football title for a Final Four appearance? And
I think I would.
yeah, I think I would too. I'd do it. We may
Just the
not have
one.
to.
I
We
mean,
might
it
this year. Yeah, just the one.
might. Yeah, just the one. Yeah, I
But
mean, it's
this
just
is.
a whole different thing. I know we'll never be considered a basketball school at any point. I mean, we're football dominant, but as we were, we were kind of frustrated during school. I mean, it's just like, you see the Ohio States and Michigans, the Floridas of the world being somewhat consistent in, both. We There's no reason why we shouldn't be here and have the same passion and it's not gonna be the same passion, but a certain care above. Oh, hey, we made the tournament. It's been a heck of a year. you know,
Yeah, and Alabama's a program that if you put a winning team, a fun team on that court, fans will
People
show
are gonna
up.
show up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, granted, getting that new arena built and getting out of Coleman Coliseum is
Ah,
absolutely essential.
oh,
Uh,
yeah.
that's
Oh,
just some huge
because
thing
we
that
were
needs to
thinking we
happen.
need to get out of that when we were in school.
Oh yeah, I mean, Coleman, I'm sure in its day was a great place, but
I
it's
just don't
it's
understand how it's so dark in there. It's just the darkest place ever.
it's a cave. Um, but yeah, and you look at schools like Ohio State and Florida, back in the day, you can have two high quality national title contending programs
In
in the
both
same
sports.
athletic department. Yeah, it's not out of the
Yeah.
realm. Hell, you can have three. I mean, hell, Louisville did it earlier, last decade. They had, great football seasons. They had a Final Four win.
And
They had a national title in baseball. Like you can have
yeah, you can have
multiple.
everything going on at once.
Mhm,
And I mean, you still consider Ohio State a football school, but yet they can still be a consistent basketball.
mhm,
Michigan, you would probably still consider a football school. They've had a consistent basketball program.
mhm.
Alabama, of course, will always be known as a football school. However, there's no reason why the consistency of second weekend or better every year in basketball can't be an expectation. I never
Exactly.
got.
Yeah. That should be the expectation with the resources that this program
Yeah,
has. And I
exactly,
know a lot of them, we don't need to dump all those resources in the NIL fund. We can set some aside for basketball, for
exactly.
the basketball NIL fund. We can build a new arena, which is just sorely needed,
Right.
just bulldoze
Yeah, just get
Coleman
rid
to
of
the
them.
ground, build a new arena. If you can't get it done in an off season, play one season home games and historic Foster Auditorium. The women's team plays there. You can let the men play there, or play your home games up, play the big ones up here in Birmingham. It's
Yeah,
fine. Just getting the arena built, and but yeah, exciting season for Alabama
for
basketball. They
sure.
look great on both sides of court.
Yeah.
And one thing I tweeted it yesterday, but to the announcers that refer to us as Roll Tide, like Roll Tide is winning right now. Like, no, that's not. It's not a noun. We're Alabama or the Crimson Tide or the
All
Tide or
right.
Bama. Roll Tide is
Yeah.
our chant.
Yeah.
It's just a weird
Exactly.
thing that the guy on the game yesterday, the analyst, I forget who it was, but he was doing that. He's like, and Roll Tide is looking good right now. It's like, that's not, no, like,
Yeah.
that's not how that goes. You could say the tide is rolling right now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just a weird little thing. Like, that's not how that language works, y'all. Um,
Exactly.
Greg, you got anything else in the world of sports?
Not a whole lot. I think it's just gonna be this should be a. I think we're gonna see some surprises today as far as for the playoffs. There, I don't think, and I'm hoping that we get to see that Lions Packers game mean something tonight. I think that'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think after that we're gonna be in for a heck of a wild card, divisional, and championship before the Super Bowl. So I think we're gonna be in for a treat for the playoffs. And other than that, it's just a matter of a man in Buffalo continuing his health and just appreciating what we have as far as the season with the NFL because college football ends tomorrow. Sad to say. So just appreciating what you have and enjoying the games while we have it because before we know it, the NFL season will be done too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I did think of one thing actually we could mention too. I think we mentioned a few weeks ago we were talking about coaching changes, and there's always one shock one. Well, the big one that could happen in college, and then it would actually affect NFL
Oh,
dominoes too.
Harbaugh.
Yeah, Jim
Yeah.
Harbaugh. This year or this week, a
You
lot
know
of
what's
reports that Harbaugh is again once
remarkable?
again flirting with the NFL and maybe trying to get back into the NFL game. And now with the NCAA handed Michigan a letter of notice of violations too, that might be an opportune time for old Jimmy to
Yeah.
bounce
Some of
right.
the some of the dumbest violations. I mean, what
Oh,
was it?
too, yeah.
What is it? Um, they contacted someone during the dead period during COVID. They had some extra practices, or one of their analysts was on the field or something. It's like, come on, really? That's what we're worried about right now.
I think the
I
two
mean, that's
funniest ones I saw, one was like he watched a practice through like on a webcam basically, or
yeah.
some I don't know, someone FaceTimed him and watched it, and then another
Uh-huh.
one was two recruits who already had signed with Michigan, like they were committed or whatever. They came through town and he had
You
breakfast with
bought him
them
a
at a
burger or something? Yeah.
yeah, like bought them with burger and like used the company credit card or whatever, or the university credit card, which you know, we as Alabama fans know how a coach can get in trouble using that university credit card.
It was a credit card.
Yeah,
But I
that
guess
old
burgers a little different than strippers. But anyway.
yeah. Anywho, yeah, so that could be a big one. Jim Harbaugh might be fleeing Michigan for the NFL again. Not sure where he'll go. The openings right now, you got Denver and Indy and Carolina. The Indianapolis one's interesting, of course, because Harbaugh played there as a
Oh
quarterback
yeah, they
and
did. I almost took him to the Super Bowl.
I almost took him to the Super Bowl one year. In Denver this week, they got permission from the Saints to talk to Sean Payton
Yeah,
as
that's
their
interesting.
coach. I
But
think what as far as that goes, I think an interesting thing. I'm actually reading a headline here that says Sean McVay's future as the
yeah,
Rams
so
coach is
he
kind of
may
in
not be
limbo.
one, may not want to be the coach. I'm like, dude.
And that's an offense that I think that maybe someone like Sean Payton would go right into.
Oh yeah, all the weapons there.
And they're a franchise that's not afraid to trade some draft picks, which I'm sure the Saints would be looking for as compensation since Sean Payton is still technically under contract with them, even though he's
Exactly.
retired. But yeah, and that could be interesting. So we're going to see some coaching dominoes fall here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, for sure. But my thing with Sean Payton is like, I don't know. I think he gets a lot more hype because I mean he's a solid coach, but I mean it's been some times that I've been like, dude, he gets a lot more hype than maybe what he deserves. I don't know because I mean a couple of those times when they choked in the playoffs there, I was like, and this is the Saints team that probably should have been in the Super Bowl, but
Yeah, they were. Of course, they have definitely had some bad luck. You know that Minnesota
no.
miracle, and then that awful no call and that pass interference. You know that's
But
out of their hands.
They were still up 14 on the. They were up 14 to nothing to start that game at home, and
Hmm.
let the Rams back into that game. Yeah, the pass interference is absolutely ridiculous, but at the same time, I mean, it probably shouldn't have came down to that.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah, it's the worst no call in history of football I've
Oh
ever seen. And then I was working at a bar in New Orleans when that
no!
happened. Oh man, I
Oh
thought
boy!
we were gonna have to duck.
Oh
People
boy!
just throwing stuff. It was bad, but yeah, I remember quietly saying later, maybe the next couple of days later that week, I was like, man, they still should have won that game. Like that
Yeah,
wasn't the referee's fault.
yeah,
But yeah, you do wonder. That's a good thing about Peyton. You wonder if that was almost a perfect marriage of him and Drew Brees at quarterback, and they caught that kind of
You saw him without Drew Brees.
yeah.
That was ugly. But we'll see. Maybe just a different scene. And yeah, I mean, if he goes into a situation with the Rams, that could be interesting to watch. But yeah, and if Harbaugh were to jump back into pro, that Michigan, that'd be interesting to see just who steps into that role. What that opens up.
Yeah, that's a huge domino to fall there too. 'Cause that starts like a coaching carousel all over again.
Oh yeah, because I mean that's you know one of the blue bloods of college football that usually doesn't change their coaches too much. For
Mm.
that to open up, And then just what they've been the last 2 years. I mean, two straight playoff appearances, two
Yeah,
straight Big Ten titles. I mean, anybody would kill to get in that.
yeah, I was about to say, and that would be a super important hire for Michigan too. Obviously, an important hire, but like that, the timing of it, you'd have to get it absolutely
Perfect.
100% right to keep that momentum going.
Oh yeah, 'cause-
You don't want to give Ryan Day and Ohio State an opening to take back all the power and that, or give like a Penn State a window to maybe fill that vacuum and actually steal.
yeah, still that
Um,
second spot. And
but all right, Greg. So that goes to our end. And what has been done up real good for you this week?
done up real good for me. Had another full holiday Christmas party on Friday when was pretty legit. Won an award for um, just I guess living by the working by the I guess the presidents of the company there, living by the guidelines there, and what they I guess the company sayings and what they would like their employees to go by. So I got nominated for that and won an award Friday night. So I was like, man, I was shocked. I was like, man, I must have bribed somebody along the way. But that was pretty cool. How about you?
Let's see. Done up real good this week. Just kind of unusual. It's been a good week. Happy, the kids rolling along,
Oh
doing
yeah,
good. Went to the doctor. Everything's looking good there. I get to meet granddad for the first time today. My dad,
awesome.
he wasn't able to, had the flu when he
Oh
came home from the hospital, so he didn't want to meet him then. And then
right.
after he got over that, he caught COVID
Oh
again
wow,
from family members. So he's finally good and healthy, and so he's on his way to
nice.
come meet the grandkid today. So that's good.
Actually, can't wait.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh yeah. He's been probably most excited of anybody to meet him. So that's that's what's done up real good. But that'll do it for us here tonight or today, folks. As always, check out everything else on the Alabama Take Family of Podcast and on the website, alabamatake.com. Do enjoy it. Join us again next time. Greg, I'll see you.
Yes, sir.